Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining 12 Reasons Why. And we have yet another episode with Kim Berg, who is Microsoft AI MVP, and he's CTO for Data and AI for Sagity Sweden. Thank you so much, Kim, for joining us today. Kim, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, you did a good summary. I'm the CTO for, like you said, for Society, Society Sweden, and data and AI specifically, and also been an MVP within the AI platform category for a year. But my main goal has been productionizing AI pretty much for the last 6 years or so. Has been my target.
Lovely, lovely. So, today we are going to discuss a really interesting topic, and probably the whole world, and no matter what part people are working on, right? Being it in construction, being it in tech, being it in any retail, everyone is talking about AI, and we have heard the chat GPTs of the world coming in with a full storm. So, we have heard there is a thing from Microsoft called Azure AI Foundry, right? And basically, we are going to have a quick chat about that. So, for those who is unfamiliar with this topic, right? So, what exactly is this Azure AI Foundry, and what exactly it is trying to solve? Okay.
Yeah, I would say AI Foundry is sort of the full stack platform for building, deploying, and managing all your AI-powered applications and agents. So it pretty much it brings together all the tooling, the models, and governance in one place. So
Okay.
it pretty much like enables you to go from idea to production in days instead of months.
Okay, lovely, lovely. So, if anyone is starting with probably their AI workloads and they have like a new workload coming in, which is they want to centralize with AI, it's basically giving the full tool set along with, I would say, some governance and some functionalities on top of that. Is that correct summarization? Is it?
Yeah, exactly. It's the one-stop shop for your AI needs, pretty much.
Okay, lovely, lovely. So, for those who are working with ML ops and who are working with different AI platforms, like ChatGPT came in with a I'd say ChatGPT Enterprise. So, how is that different from this suite?
I would say this one is pretty much it's more integrated within the full ecosystem. So most of the other ones, how it differs is this one you can you can use it from wherever. I mean, if it's Visual Studio Code, if it's from GitHub, it integrates really well with Azure OpenAI
Hmm.
and also the cognitive services. So it combines and integrates all the different services, AI services in Azure. And I think that's
Lovely.
the biggest difference.
Lovely, lovely. So, is there any use cases? And I won't ask you to go in any of your NDA stuff or any of the customer details, right? But is there any interesting use cases you have seen in the market that people are using Azure AI Foundry for?
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually have one that is a public Microsoft reference case as well that I can talk about in detail if I want to, but let's keep it a bit short, I guess. But one of the clients that I've been part of implementing some use cases with is Husqvarna. So the ones most famous for creating robot lawnmowers, but also a lot within the like forest and garden department, so chainsaws and that sort of thing as well.
Hmm.
And the public case, it got released like 2 weeks ago or something now, so just a couple of weeks ago, quite recently. It was also part of Build. They had a video recording, which I'm part of that video,
Oh, lovely.
talking about this case as well. So in there, we actually used AI Foundry as the starting point and the building block to create something that we call the factory companion,
Okay.
which is every time somebody in the factory has any question about the machinery, like why is it stopped, or what could be the reason for this machine being stopped at the moment, or how can I solve this specific issue? It's the one interface to ask all of those questions. So we're integrating it towards their incident management system and also
Hmm.
like their work orders, the troubleshooting documents and the machine documentation. So all of that is integrated into it, make it available for the shop floor operators. So
Lovely.
you can read about that as a public use case story as well, going a bit more into depth about what we did.
Lovely. Yeah, no, that sounds to me, and just my techie brain working in the back of it, right? So basically, you have multiple document repositories, you have an incident system, and all of that comes together, and you have a large language model working on top of that, giving the users like ease of asking questions around those incidents, around those manuals, and everything, and getting the right responses around that. Is that summarizes correctly? Perfect.
Exactly.
No, we'll definitely try to find that link and put that as a reference here so people can watch that. So, diving a little bit deeper into the Azure AI Foundry, right? So, we talked about there is integration with multiple document sources we are talking about, and we are talking about large language models, right? And I know every day I hear some different model getting launched. So, things like there is 10 different of OpenAI models. There is Facebook models, and there is like I'm losing track of that. And I would say there is like more than 1,800 models available with Azure AI Foundry. So, what's your suggestion around this AI candy store? Right? How should we decide which model to go with?
Yeah, there is multiple ways of doing it, but my suggestion usually, if it feels like overwhelming, is to use what they're calling the model router. So we can actually select
Hmm.
pretty much the best model for your specific need based on your prompt. So you can do it
Hmm.
with a lot more control, and it can filter for specific domains if it's like using vision language or whatever it is. And also you can test using the models with the evaluation SDK as well. That's another way of doing it.
Hmm.
Um, and there is what's it called? I think if you use the developer tier, you can do like fine tuning, which lets you experiment with the different like hosting fees and things as well. So there are multiple ways of doing it, but mainly I use the model router for doing it. So it pretty much like picks the best model for your need based on your prompt and what you're running.
Okay, so that becomes quite easy if you're using model router. Basically, it analyzes what you're doing and basically gives you the right model. And it's more around, okay, I need a smaller model for this bit. It will be giving me an suggestion around that. Is
Yeah,
that
it's not
correct?
always perfect, but it works quite well. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is. It's more of a. I would say, is it a GFA function feature at the moment? The model router.
I'm not sure if it's completely released. It was talked about and released pretty much at build, so I'm not sure if it's GA or not yet.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, perfect. No, that sounds good. So we have picked our model, and one of the things that mostly, and even when I'm talking to customers, right, and they are worried of is more of their content safety, and also, there is a bit of a hallucination and the bias in the models, right, where you're asking something and it gives you like a totally different thing, and also from the perspective of making sure it is not biased, right? Is there controls, or is there tuning that we can do through AI Foundry there?
Yeah, there's a lot of tuning you can do based on that. And I would say there is like a base filter that you have for the
Hmm.
content safety. But I mean, in some cases, not only that you need to modify it to include more, I
Hmm.
would say in a lot of cases you need to do the opposite.
Okay.
For example, if you go into like healthcare or a police department or something like that,
Hmm.
a lot of what you're going to bring into it will be something like mentioning or talking about like violence, for example. You
Yeah.
can't get across that, and some terms that you're going to talk about and what is referenced in the documentation that you're going to use
Hmm.
will use a lot of things that will hit the content safety part. So
Yeah.
it's really good that you can also take away some of the parts as well. So,
Okay.
so I think it goes both ways. In a lot of cases, to use it to, I mean, using all the like the bias detection, for example, it's really important for actually seeing that you're not including biases in your actual application, what you're building. But yeah, I would say that the other way around is super important as well, that you have that option.
Lovely. Yeah, lovely. So we can put safeguards where basically we can make sure, okay, what exactly you're going to include and what exactly you're going to exclude, kind of things, and also put some bias controls over there. Now that sounds really interesting. And one of the things that when I was trying to play around with AI Foundry, right? There is, I think there are two products there. One is Azure AI Foundry, and one is Azure AI Project, something like that. Is that something you're familiar with, or is there a difference there?
Yeah, you have like two parts of it. So it is like the Foundry projects, and then you have
Hmm.
the Foundry hub.
Okay.
So it's those two different things, how it's built up pretty much. And the difference is the hub is pretty much like the centralized control plane,
Hmm.
where you can manage multiple projects, and you
Okay.
can govern different policies,
Hmm.
and use shared resources as well between different teams and departments.
Okay.
And the actual project is the workspace for building and managing your AI solutions. So
Okay.
controlling all the models, the agents, and the data pipelines.
Okay, so the hub, if it's basically we are making sure we, let's say we have multiple teams within our organizations, right? We are giving them shared resources and we are giving them connectivities at the different places, and the projects are going into more specific use cases within teams.
Yeah, and
Is
also
that
the
correct?
policies for the hub as well. Yeah,
Okay, for the policies as well. Yeah, lovely. No, that makes it clear. So now basically, so you will be needing a hub. So is that the case that you always need a hub and project as well, or is it like going to be you need both?
yeah, you
Is
need
it?
you need to create both. Yeah,
Okay, lovely. So, and one question that gets asked a lot of times, right? Because AI is not something new, and we have been doing, and since you have also mentioned, right, 6 years now on, you're doing it, implementing different solutions, right? So we have done in our past a lot of projects where the things like a cognitive services, your AI search coming in, your speech service, those kind of things are coming in. With this AI Foundry coming into picture, do I not need all those, or how is it going to be?
yeah. It's you have some options with it, because some of the resources that you talked about actually automatically gets deployed, or you can deploy it with the project itself, or the hub when you create it. So you can share resources in between, but in most cases you still need the other services in the background. So it's just that you're controlling them and using them from the Foundry, but it will still deploy the services in the background for you. So for
Okay.
example, it is the AI Foundry is pretty much built on the cognitive service.
Hmm.
It is a cognitive service in the background, you can say, how it
Okay.
looks like in Azure. And you also need, for example, if you're going to use like grounding or building indexes and using your own data, you
Hmm.
still need an AI search service in the background.
Okay.
And same goes for if you want to utilize the GPT models and things like that.
Hmm.
You still need to deploy an Azure OpenAI service as well. So it's just
Okay.
it integrates it for you and makes it available from one place instead of having a lot of separate resources.
Okay, so behind the curtains, it's basically the same services. Our familiar old services are doing the magic, and we have like I would say, a sprinkle of glitter on top of that, which is with AI Foundry. That sounds really interesting. So I believe that means that since we are able to use all those services like search service, as you mentioned, right? So we will be able to, and just my networking and governance brain working on the back of it. So we will be able to use all the good things around the private endpoint and integrating everything privately and securely. That sounds good.
Exactly.
Yeah, that sounds great. So, and specifically from the pricing perspective, right? And I know we are talking about uh, AI to anyone and everyone, specifically when we go with the C suite, right? There is always a question. And I know you must be doing this conversation day in, day out, right? So, what's your go to move in terms of making them understand, and we're more like an elevator pitch for them around, okay, with the cost and complexity, how it like spans out for them?
Yeah, mostly how I would pitch it and say the big thing about it is that it turns, I would say it like this, like it will turn your data into business value. So, and it will do it fast. That's the
Hmm.
big thing about it.
Hmm.
And so it will reduce the time to market from months instead of days.
Hmm.
So you have, and you also have built-in security, compliance, and cost controls for all of that as well.
Hmm.
So whether you're automating some like customer service or optimizing some specific operations, it's like the fastest, safest way to scale AI across your enterprise.
Lovely. Yeah, that makes make a lot more sense than what I was thinking in my head. Definitely. Yeah. So Yeah, so if we are to, let's say, go for and then consider if I have an organization which is looking at implementing AI, right? So what will be your suggestion around, like, should we go for the data strategy first, like getting our house clean first and then go for AI, or is it like go with AI and do this in the back of a data strategy in the back of that?
Yeah, I would say my approach is always trying to go for value as fast as possible. And
Hmm.
so your target is always business value. And I like to do it so you take one slice, I would say. So don't build the full strategy on any of the parts because
Hmm.
those things takes a long time. So I would say start with finding your use cases that will provide you the most value and have the least amount of complexity. Target those ones, get to work, like get going, start doing things with it. And so start
Okay.
building things. And at the same time, you implement and work on the strategy parts, both for the data parts and your full like AI strategy as well.
Hmm.
So don't target the full strategy and then start doing your work after your 6 to 12 months of strategy work. I don't like that approach. I like doing it at the
Okay.
same time. So doing it in parallel and get to the value as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Because if you do it that way, the use case will most likely bear its own cost if you target the right ones. And at
Hmm.
the same time, you have built your foundation and a lot of your strategy as well. And the things you haven't targeted, now then go back to the other use cases and try to find something that targets that area as well and implement it and at the same time do the strategy work. Because then you're getting value out all the time.
Okay, so first thing should be you should be proving the value first, and meanwhile you can work on the strategy. So it's kind of a parallel approach that you prefer.
Yep.
That sounds good. Yeah, that definitely sounds good. And in terms of promoting it more or within the organization, I would say if you are able to show some value at like one day at like a madman, if I go and say like I'll cut down and increase the productivity by 40% or something, right? It will not sell. uh, I believe that's your experience as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And the use case that I said as an example, that case was exactly that. It was one of the highest targeted ones that could bring the most value with the least amount of complexity. And we got it to production in 6 weeks, out to the shop floor, people, the
Okay.
operators. So that approach is something I always try to follow because, yeah, and it will also make it easier to get budget or financing for what you actually want to do because you're showing value. You can get
Yeah.
it back to your stakeholders and say, look, we got this out, and it reduced the time to finding solutions by like 10 to 20%. And when
Mm.
stops happen, you can solve it a lot easier. So troubleshooting gets helped, which in turn is a lot of money if
Yeah.
things is standing still.
Yeah. No, that will be definitely music to ears, to all the C-suite, definitely. And one thing that I continuously keep on hearing from people around the Azure AI agents. So is that something that we can do with AI Foundry, or is it like something separate we are talking about, or is it a totally altogether a different ball game we are talking about?
No, the AI agent service was GA released now at Build, so it's part of Foundry.
Hmm.
And it is like the agent service that lets you build like multi-step memory-enabled agents that can let you like reason, plan, and act on different things. And the big part I would say is the act. That's the big thing about the agents. So you can use it like a digital operations manager or and you can use and then it supports tools like vector searching. You can do function calling and different kinds of structured outputs and things like that. And you can deploy and interact with the APIs and all of it from Foundry. So you can use all of that from there. And then there are different tools outside of it as well. But pretty much whatever you're using, if you're running and using agents or building agents within Azure, it's going to use the AI agent service in the background, those APIs. It's what's going to be used. So if you're using semantic kernel or whatever, it's still going to use the AI agent service.
Okay. Okay, that sounds like more of a cherry on the top, and you're getting to build all the AI agent functionalities as well within Azure AI Foundry. That sounds really interesting. Specifically from any security or governance, specifically from those perspective, right? Is there any suggestion from your side? So for the industries, the regulated industries, I would say, right, that always I get. eyebrows raised from the CISOs. Okay, now you're talking about introducing something, Azure AI Foundry, right, which is going to connect to our data, which is going to connect to some sensitive places as well, even for internal purposes. So, what's your suggestion around that, and what one tip that you will give there?
Yeah, I mean, the full service itself, like you mentioned, also it supports private networking to start
Mhm.
off with. So that in itself is something really big because you can keep it completely private within your own networks. And it also supports like data encryption, role-based access for it. You can build for all of it, and it also it has compliance with a lot of the different global standards like HIPAA or GDPR or things like that. So it's already compliant with that. And another thing is you can also run models in an isolated environment with a thing called the confidential computing as well.
Okay.
So there is a lot of things you can do to use it even in more regulated areas of business as well.
Okay, so that sounds to me like you're getting all the goodness from Azure side, where it is like Entra ID controlled. You have your confidential computing there. You have your private networking and everything, and that is basically making sure like a 360 view of all the security controls you're getting. Lovely. So one final question from my side, right? So anyone who is looking for implementing AI, and that's a good question I'm getting asked a lot. Like your one tip for them to start, where to start from, and where to go specifically from AI perspective. Like I know it's a big mammoth of its own. You can do anything and everything from workflow automation or actual AI, right? But what's your one tip for anyone who is starting with AI or looking at implementing AI within the organization?
Yeah, the thing about Foundry is that it lets you start small, and that's my suggestion and my tip as well. I would say start small. So use like there's a lot of quick start templates that you
Hmm.
can use in Foundry. Start off with those, or just jump right into the playgrounds. There's a lot of different playgrounds you can use, and then like pre-built demo cases. So just jump in, start using the different parts that is available, and test it out. Like for example, build a simple agent based on your own data or something like that. And then you can explore after that, like the evaluation SDK or something like that, and just test and iterate and try to build on your solution and make it more advanced in the end. Because the thing is that the platform itself, it's designed to scale with you pretty much.
Yeah.
So you can start off in really small parts and then just build it up into something really big in a proper, like big solution that actually can be a deployed productionized application in that.
Lovely, lovely. Yeah, no, that sounds really great. And yeah, no, that pops another question in my head. I'm a liar. I said that was my last question. But anyone starting with Azure AI Foundry, where do you suggest they go? They should go to Microsoft Learn, or just jump straight into AI Foundry and start doing things?
I would say a mix. Start looking at the quick start templates or the playgrounds, but in the same time, when you do that, there is a lot of references to learn as well.
Hmm.
So you could just jump straight in, or if you're more sort of like a theoretical person, because some likes to read before they start doing. I'm the opposite. I like just get into it and start doing things.
Yeah.
But if you like it that way, there is a lot of documentation as well, and that documentation is referenced in all of those like quick start templates and the playground, all of it all over. You can just click always to the documentation how things works if you want to get deeper into it.
Lovely. Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, that's thank you so much for that, Kim. Anything on top of your head you want to share with people watching this?
Yeah, I'm just excited on what's coming now within the service. I mean, there was a lot of cool things being released at Build. For my part, it's I would say all of the super cool models coming, like Sora and Flux Pro and things like that, and the 10,000 plus Hugging Face models. It's going to be
Oh my
insane.
God.
And also there's the full private link support that is available now for completely fully secure developments, the Visual Studio Code extension. What is it more? Yeah, a super cool thing. Another thing, just exactly what I talked about. Like if you're in a hybrid or adaptive cloud environment, the Foundry Local as well, which lets you use it completely like disconnected off grid in your local deployment.
Oh,
So
is
there's a
it?
lot of cool things coming.
That sounds really interesting. And for someone like me working in more of a security and governance side, right? The last bit that you said, it's music to my ears, to be very honest.
Yeah.
That's really great. And thank you so much for sharing that, Kim. And thank you so much for joining today. And I believe you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. I will